Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Monday and a beautiful Monday, so happy Monday to you. Yesterday was 1st of June and this will be one of the most important dates in this Russo-Ukrainian war because what happened yesterday? Well, I'm glad you asked. Look at this map, my friends. This is the map of 4 Russian airfields where Russian TU-95, TU-22s, all of the nuclear bombers they have were present at the time of Ukrainian attack. But this wasn't just any attack. It was one of the most genius SBU operations or Secret Services special operations out there at all in all of history. We'll go through all of the photos, videos, and all of the bits of information about it because the losses to Russia amounts to up to $7 billion. We're talking up to 40 planes destroyed. Now, visually confirmed we have a lot less, but different sources say up to 40 planes. Not all of them are nuclear bombers, of course. There were also civilian aircraft or Ilyushin-76 carriers, but there were plenty of TU-95s also, which Russia doesn't produce anymore, by the way. They're all from the Soviet past, and they were developed in the 50s, and right now they carry the bulk of the missiles that land in Ukraine every night. So this operation is well justified. First of all, let's go through the locations. We got in Murmansk Oblast, north of Russia, Olenya Air Base. Plenty of videos coming out from there. We're gonna watch them all. Then we have Ivanovo Air Base right here, Ryazan Air Base, and then we go almost 5,000 kilometers to the far east and we got Irkutsk Air Base. There's plenty of names about this, different names about this, but we have videos from here also. So just to sum up what you're about to see, because you will never see that again. I don't think we're gonna see operation like that executed by any country in the near future. $7 billion. This is the estimated cost of Putin's strategic aviation, which was hit today as a result of SBU Special Operation Web or SPIDERWEB. 34% of strategic cruise missile carriers at the main airfields of the Russian Federation were hit. And don't take my words for it, wait for the videos, there's plenty of videos. 34%, that's a massive loss. Losing one TU-95 would be a massive headline for all media in the world. Losing 10 and more, I mean, I cannot say enough how big this is. We begin with Belaya airfield, and Belaya, I think it means white in Russian, belly, so it's white airfield if you want to call it that, and we begin with the videos. My friends, look at this. Ukrainian FPV drone, by the way, yes, they did it with FPVs, and we go through how, but let's enjoy the footage right now. Belaya airfield, FPV, flying over the first plane, which is already on fire. Seeing the second one, this one is not on fire. Yet, but now it is. Bada boom! Liberation exported. Look at that. One FPV just hit it at the time that this one is flying over it. Oh, you thought this is the only video? Well, think again, my friends. Belaya aerodrome, and everything is burning. I wouldn't even point out what exactly is burning because everything is burning in this one. And this is the same footage, only taken from another drone, which is a little bit more high up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think I see the 5th one in the back. 5 planes visually confirmed burning here. Of course, not all of them are TU-95s. See, yeah, that's the 5th one, I think, here. And they're burning beautifully. Boom. Yes. Again, different sources say 40 aircraft have been hit. There are 4 different types of planes that were hit. Take this number with a grain of salt. I think 20 is more like it. I mean, I've visually confirmed 10 plus with my own eyes, and I don't have all the videos. So definitely it's around 20. 40 might be a bit much, but whatever the number is, it's absolutely massive. Now this is also Belaya airfield, filmed a little bit from the side. Let's enjoy the visuals, my friends. You can see the planes on the ground. You can just film them because it's Russia, it's for everybody to see. And it's all under smoke, massive smoke, everything is burning. This entire video is like paradise to my eyes, man. This is gonna make my week. Look at that. Smoke column after smoke column, everything going up in flames. These are the planes that are levying missiles to Ukraine, to Kyiv every night. These are the planes, and they're burning on the ground. Now I'll show you exactly how this was done. This is again the Belaya airfield. You can hear FPVs in the air. You can hear it. And you can even see it. These are Russian civilians filming everything for us. And you can hear them trying to shoot them down, which didn't work, obviously. But why don't we look exactly how the process went? With this one, there's not much secrets because everything is known to the process of putting the FPVs into Russia, assembling them there, sending the trucks close to the airports. Did I say trucks? I did, my friends. How this worked is these trucks were filled with FPVs, tens, and in altogether hundreds of them, over 100 were used, and the roofs of the trucks were removed remotely, and the FPVs just started shooting out, and we'll enjoy that process right now together. Check it out. FPV lifting up from the truck, parked near Belaya airfield, going to find itself a TU-95 nuclear-capable bomber, or a TU-22M. The Russian, of course, is swearing very juicily. It's a very juicy language here. One went, I'll fast forward to you. They're trying to shoot down the one, you could hear it, but check it out. Another one just lifted up from the truck, another one went, and this is one by one, they're taking out the entire Russian nuclear-capable aviation. And do you know what happens after the last FPV was sent? Well, the truck self-destructed. It just started burning, so the evidence will be gone. I mean, we all know it's Ukrainians, they themselves confirmed it. Zelensky made a damn video about it. But then the entire truck self-destructed, burning to the ground. This is full CIA movie. I mean, now, okay, you saw the process. We're gonna go into how exactly it happened, because this is insane. These drones were assembled in Russia. And by the way, if I tell it to you, 10 clicks from the SBU headquarters in Chelyabinsk in a rented warehouse. It's a full undercover, covert operation. It's like a Mission Impossible movie, pretty much. But one cool other connection here is that yesterday, it was Prigozhin's birthday. Yevgeny Prigozhin, June the 1st, 1961. So this date is legendary, man. It's so good. It's almost too good to be true. Happy birthday, Prigozhin. Ukrainians wished you a happy birthday in a magnificent, fiery way yesterday. In Irkutsk, locals are trying to block the roof of the truck so the FPV drones cannot fly out. But I mean, it didn't work, obviously. But let's see them trying, because I want to make my day. Look, the airfield in the back is already smoking very carelessly. Knocked out cold smoke columns, but locals are on top of the truck trying to stop the FPVs from going up. But I mean, it's too little too late, my friends. The smoke is already there. And now they're running. Damn, I'm gonna have a good week. Alright, here I bring you some videos almost 5,000 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, 4,900 kilometers. You already saw these smoke columns. Let's watch them again, because they're juicy and beautiful and nice, and it might be the last time I see this specific airfield burning in Russia.
Еще один летит. Где?
And these civilians, these babushkas, can hear the drones up above, and they're filming it. And yeah, here it is. 5,000 clicks from the Ukrainian border. They are controlling FPV drones. How insane is that? FPVs, you imagine them being 10, 15 clicks from the front, from the zero line max, destroying the logistics. But here we're talking 5,000 kilometers away. This is insane. If I think about secret forces operation, covert operation of CIA, Mossad or SPU. This is what I'm talking about. This is going to be the textbook operation of how the future students of those forces will study. That's the operation. We're trying to replicate that in the future. By the way, one of these FPVs costs $1,000 to $2,000, maybe $500, depending, you know. But one of the TU-95, you cannot even put a price to it because they don't make them anymore. There's so much information more to tell you about this attack. But before I can do that, I gotta butcher some Buy Me a Coffee monthly members. And this one here is not a monthly member, but he's a monthly, he's a special dude. Gordon Hiuma. I'm going to Hiuma. It's the second biggest island of Estonia. I'm going to Hiuma in like a month. So maybe I'll see you there, Gordon Hiuma. Thank you for the support. We also have Andrev Vats, Toivo Martinez. Well, Martinez, very Hispanic, but Toivo is full Estonian, man. You cannot go more Estonian than Toivo. We have Mattias and Fredrik Josep Hinojosa. Thank you to all of these weird named dudes for supporting the channel. If you want to be in that list, become a monthly member of Buy Me a Coffee. Alright, my friends, we carry on now going to Ivanovo airfield. We only looked at one airfield. Now, Ivanovo, the second one we're going to look, reportedly had an A-50 AWACS plane. It's a Russian version of the AWACS, early warning and control aircraft. And you can see it on the photo. It's a very expensive radar aircraft that Russians don't also produce anymore. They're modernizing the old ones, but they don't make them from scratch. So supposedly one of these was in the Ivanovo airfield. We don't have visual confirmation about it. Now, last time this A-50 Russian AWACS was attacked was in March of 2023, so 2 years and more ago in Belarus, where Ukrainians flew FPV drones and dropped grenades and bombs on the AWACS plane. And 2 years later, we got a similar attack only with FPVs, and it's like streamlines. They do it 4 airfields at the same time. But in 2023, March, this is where it started. We noticed something very strange, by the way, from these videos. Almost all 4 airfields had the same kind of weird tires on top of the bombers and planes. Look. These tires, they're supposed to defend against Ukrainian drone attacks, right? I mean, in Russian, what are you going to do if you have that priceless TU-95 spread out on your tarmac? You're going to put some tires on top of it. So this way Ukrainian FPVs cannot attack you. And this is how much tires we're talking about. Look at that. All of the tires. Put it on top. Believe me, Ivan, you put tire on top, no drone going to touch your plane. And it goes as far as this AI photo, of course. But I'm kidding with you. But this, even if you put this much tires, it's still not going to work. Look at it. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know why they put tires. If you connect to aviation, maybe you know better. Why they put tires on top of the planes? I mean, it's just more burning material for the FPV fires that's going to happen. But there were tires on top of almost all of the planes. All right, my friends, let's go to the third airfield. We have videos about Olenya airfield. Now, this one's up in the north. And the most beautiful video, I think, came from this airfield. We watched it already. Let's just watch it again. You can just count them with your own eyes. You want to be a geolocator or OSINT analysis? Well, this is the easiest instance to do so. Just watch the video, count the planes that are smoking, and just deduct from there how many planes were destroyed in this specific airfield in the Murmansk Oblast. Olenya, this is the city near Olenya airfield, and the locals are filming it. Massive smoke columns, and they are asking, why are the planes still there? Are you asking, why are the planes a few thousand kilometers away on the northest airfield Russia has? This is a very good place for the planes, because Ukrainians were not supposed to get there. So you should not ask this question, because it's the place that they should be at. It's just that Ukrainians can get anywhere now. And by the way, in this airfield, we saw a specific cloud, this ammunition cloud right here. I mean, this doesn't come from a plane. It happens where ammunition detonates in Russian ammunition storage facilities. We've seen it many times. So we can only guess that some big amount of ammunition in Murmansk cooked off. By the way, now Ukraine has its own aircraft carrier. You know, you got the USA, UK, France, and Ukrainian aircraft carrier looks like this. Don't let yourself be fooled. This is not a truck. This is an aircraft carrier because drone is an aircraft, and that vehicle here is carrying that drone. So Ukrainian aircraft carriers are doing more damage right now to the Russians than the entire rest of the fleet of aircraft carriers combined. There was also one truck that did not reach its target and it burned on the highway just before it reached it. Yeah, and you can see it right here. So, I mean, 4 airfields, but it should have been the 5 airfields. 1 burned to the ground. Didn't reach the targets. There is a very ironic fact about this entire thing. You know, these FPVs used AI learning on the models of TU-95s to search for their targets and where to land exactly. Peculiarity with the AI is you need to teach it. It doesn't learn it learns on its own, but you need to feed it with information or with targets that you want the AI to familiarize itself with. So check it out. What's an irony? Ukrainian drones were guided to TU-95s by AI trained on Soviet aircraft from the museum. FPV drones used in the special operation WEB were guided to targets by artificial intelligence, which was trained on strategic aircraft samples in Ukraine's Poltava Museum of Long-Range Aviation. That is, the Soviet Tu-95s, which were in the Ukrainian museum, helped to destroy the active Russian Tu-95s based at a military airfield. This is such a weird fact, but it is. They used the models of the old Tu-95s that were in museums, and boom, that helped take out the ones that Russia actually uses every night to bombard Kyiv with missiles. And just to look in real time, I mean, we can see how the auto aim happens. Check it out. The algorithm finds itself a nice juicy little plane, right? It knows exactly where it needs to go. First of all, it needs to angle itself perfectly, moving very steadily and very slowly. You know, the best place to attack these bombers is, of course, on the wings, not in the center. Let's see where it decides to aim down. It takes its time, by the way. It takes like a strong 30 seconds to place its aim, and it's lowering really slow, as you can see. No fast like on the front line, no fast dives. This one is done with care and love, and it lowers itself to the perfect location taught on this Poltava Aviation Museum Tu-95s on the wing. And here is where it happens. Knocked out cold, demilitarized. Now, this story gets even crazier. You thought you heard it all. No, let's go to Chelyabinsk, a Russian city. And here in Chelyabinsk, there was a rented warehouse where these drones were assembled and put onto these containers with these roofs that were remote controlly lifted off so the FPVs can lift off. This warehouse was only 6 kilometers from the FSB headquarters in Chelyabinsk. Check it out, 11 minutes with the car, and that's the warehouse. That was a rented one. Imagine you're an FSB headquarters chief right now in Chelyabinsk, and you find this out that like 1/3 of Russian nuclear aviation was burned because 6 kilometers from where you work, Ukrainians were doing this for a whole year. We know this operation was in the works for 18 months, year and a half. Somebody's flying out the window in Russia. I think many people will fly out the window in Russia. And there's plenty of pictures from this specific warehouse because, of course, Ukraine has published it to just rub it in. Look at it. You can geolocate this specific warehouse with these photos. People have done it for us, fortunately. You know exactly where it is in Chelyabinsk. So if you are right now watching from Russia in Chelyabinsk, you can actually go physically to that location and just breathe in the air of freedom. If you want to look at more photos, I don't think I have shown you everything. So let's just look at them for one moment. See, this is what, they are the very same FPVs used on the front. No major modifications here. This roof was remote controlled with an engine, small engines on both sides, and they lifted to the side like that or moved to the side, and the FPVs were free to lift up, all remote controlled, of course. Now, what about the outcome of this? What will change? Well, a lot actually. The Tu-95 MS Bear H is a Russia's nuclear workhorse. Designed in the 1950s, still launches missiles in the 2022s, and in this full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the TU-95 is the one that launched most missiles against Ukraine compared to other aviation platforms of Russia. Despite its age, the TU-95 remains a backbone of the Russian strategic air power. Range over 15,000 kilometers without refueling, missiles, carries Kh-55, Kh-101. By the way, this was the specific missile, the 101, that was shot on the Ohmati Children's Hospital. I was in Ukraine at the very same time with my wife spending the honeymoon when this attack happened with this missile, Kh-101, fired from a TU-95 MS. So these planes were responsible for shooting at that children's hospital, which is like the worst thing to do. Nuclear plus conventional capabilities, of course. Role, part of Russia's nuclear triad and long-range strike force, used in Syria and Ukraine for cruise missile strikes. Numbers, around 40 to 60 operational bombers, originally 90 built, but not all modernized. And now Russia lost quite plenty of them. What would change? What's the outcome of this? What's the hit to the Russian aviation? Weaker nuclear second strike capability, sharp drop in conventional long-range attacks, greater reliance on smaller Tu-22 MS, fewer Tu-160s. These are the, so to say, rivals in the Russian aviation to the Tu-95s, only the Tu-22 is a lot smaller and Tu-60s are very rare. No fast replacements. Bakhda is not ready. Major blow to military prestige and doctrine. Major blow, I mean, generals, majors, they're gonna fly out the window. That's the major blow. I cannot use words enough to emphasize how big of an effect this attack has. How many Ukrainian lives are now going to be saved because Ukrainian civilians mostly suffer from Russian cruise missiles that cannot be shot down. Russian ballistic missiles specifically, of course, but Kh-101, for example, it's incredibly difficult to shoot down. Here we can see Russian Izhkoy troop discovering unknown technology from the Ukrainians. A container. It's just a little joke for you. Russia is only beginning to feel the shockwaves of today's strike. Of course, the reality hasn't spread in Russia. This is so massive. It will take well over a week for us to realize how big it was and for Russia to assess the damage. And people will be flying out the windows, fired, or there will be straight up assassinations because of it. The loss of nearly half of its strategic bombers, worth around $7 billion, is a massive blow to the Kremlin's reputation and its ability to wage war. And of course, it's a blow to Russian ability to launch missile strikes on Ukraine. In turn, now we get to the important parts, by the way, because the reaction, the internal control that will be increased because of this attack will create a lot of chaos and confusion. Internal chaos is mounting. Tightened cargo inspections are jamming up logistics, causing costly delays and confusion. On top of that, they're scrambling to urgently relocate aircraft, warships and submarines. Because yes, if these planes were attacked, warships and submarines can be attacked the same way in the ports. It's a logistical nightmare and a strategic disaster. The price they're paying is only going up. And what's coming next will be even more devastating. The thing is, where are they going to relocate their planes and warships and submarines? Because Murmansk, the northest airfield Russia has, the far east one, 4,900 kilometers, right? Irkutsk. Where are you going to put the planes? There are already thousands of kilometers from Ukrainian border. You cannot go further, or it doesn't matter. They can still get there. There's no place to put the planes that are safe for this kind of operation. I do hope Zelensky will wear this suit next time he meets Trump, because cars is all he has. He has all the cards. Trump's famous quote to Zelensky is, doesn't have any cards. There's no card he doesn't have, only aces. Look at that. I think the Russians should start putting cope cages on their Tu-95s, you know, the most modern technology, of course, that was fitted to every tank in the world after this war. Well, now it should be in the nuclear bombers also, on them actually, so FPVs couldn't destroy them. So, this is the commander of the Russian Air Force, Lieutenant General Sergei Gobilash. I'm not going to say anything, but that is the dude, that is the commander of all of Russia's Air Force, which just took a massive, massive hit. Also the commander of the FSB, the leader of the FSB. These two men, I think they should not live in high apartment buildings anymore or high hotels, because these windows close to them, I mean, they're going to fly out very soon. If I was this guy right now, I'd be surrounding myself with mattresses, soft mattresses, so if I would be flying out, I would land softly. Pentagon, hexagon, octagon, your planes are gone. I'm having so much fun today. Okay, let's get to the reactions. Russians, we have 3 reactions from the Russians. Let's get the firebomber first. This is one of the biggest Russian Telegram channels about this war, and I'll read his entire reaction. He's very salty, also very sarcastic about it. Surprisingly, neither the tires nor the airplanes drawn on the concrete, nor the Jedi swords, nor the peons every 100 meters save the planes. He's himself making fun of the Russian airfields, drawing TU-90s on the concrete to like confuse the Ukrainian drones, or putting the tires on top of the planes. He himself is taking that joke away from me. Why firebomber? Today will later be called a black day for Russian long-range aviation. And the day is not over yet. The airbase personnel have been alerted, but I don't really know what they can do with such drones. Maybe just count them. He's making fun. Even the Russians, they're taking this with humor because this is so big. It's hard to spin this, even for Russian propaganda. I'll read you the Russian Ministry of Defense first reaction. I quote, "Today, Ukraine carried out a terrorist attack in 5 regions of Russia. In 3 of them, we repelled all attacks. In 2, only a few planes are burning. Some of the terrorists have been detained." End of quote. So they in 3 airfields they repelled all the attack. How? I didn't see it on any videos that they repelled anything actually. And now I gotta watch a video with you. That is of course a humor sketch, but it's so true in this instance. Watch the video if you're not watching, because you don't get it when you only listen. The guy is burning. All is well. Everything is absolutely safe. There is no panic. 6 million pieces of equipment. 20 million volunteers. 300 million Rosgvardia employees. 650 million drones extinguished all the fires. There is no danger. The danger has been destroyed. Security has triumphed. End of an announcement. The guy is damn on fire. This is exactly how the Russian Ministry of Defense sounds like right now when they say, yeah, we repelled the attacks. At the same time, their nuclear aviation fleet is burning. By the way, right after this attack, a few hours later, the Russian delegation arrived in Turkey for negotiations with Ukraine. And you can see this dude is the head of the Russian delegation. He is very angry and he's immediately being bombarded by all of the journalists because they just found out what happened. Look at him. He is so done. Oh, this is so enjoyable. Here are they arriving in Turkey, coming off the planes, knowing that their nuclear fleet just burned. And everybody's asking these questions from them. The journalists are not holding back. But that's not it, my friends. I thought this today is insane. There were plenty of other news, but it's just being shadowed by this massive Russian nuclear aviation fleet burning. But 2 separate railway bridges at the same time were exploded or collapsed, whatever you want to call it. But this happened at the same, like a little bit before this big attack. A railway bridge in Kursk Oblast and a railway bridge in Bryansk Oblast, they both collapsed at the same time when there were trucks above them or a train going below. At the same time when there were vehicles near them or above them or on them. Both bridges. I mean, I couldn't call this a coincidence. This is huge. So let's just begin with a BBC article because this is too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. You know what I mean? I mean, you can watch the video, of course. 2 bridges have collapsed overnight in separate incidents in Russian regions bordering Ukraine. There are casualties. A road bridge came down in Bryansk Oblast, bringing several heavy trucks onto a moving passenger train. So the train goes below the bridge and the bridge went above, and there were trucks on top of the bridge, and the bridge collapsed onto the train, passenger train. That is insane. And what happened in Kursk is vice versa. The train was on top this time. You know, in Bryansk, the trucks were on top, collapsing onto the train. In Kursk, it was a military train carrying ammunition, and Russian military, whatever they're carrying, you know, munitions, collapsed onto the trucks below. Look at that. It's so weird for me. And this is Bryansk, of course, because the truck is on top. You gotta remember, yeah, Bryansk, truck on top, train below. Kursk, train on top, truck below. It's like a recipe of a burger, Russian burger. And for some reason, I don't know if you can show it, the Russians decided to explode the Bryansk bridge after it collapsed. Look at that. That's Russians themselves now blowing it up. And there are plenty of sources claiming that this is a Russian false flag operation because it happened just before the negotiations in Turkey. So they're trying to get the Russian people to rally behind them and the world to rally behind them. But this Russian false flag, if it is that, was entirely shadowed by the Ukrainian drones attacking these TU-95s. Whoever did these two bridges, whatever it is, it's being shadowed by this massive attack. So if it was a Russian false flag, it didn't have the effect, because everybody's talking about the massive failure of Russia losing 1/3 of their nuclear capable fleet, aviation fleet. But there's plenty of videos about it. I hope you can see them on the screen. They're all in the description also. 2 imported railway bridges or railway destructions. I don't know how to call them. And I will end this video with Poland. I mean, there's so much not to be included in this video because I talked about the massive attack for so long. I couldn't include a lot of stuff, but this I decided you need to know. Poland elected a new president on Sunday. The new president is a strong conservative. You could almost call him a Trumpist. A strong conservative won, very narrowly though. It was a very narrow victory. But yeah, this means that Poland will be a bit more nationalists and a bit more anti-EU from the president. Of course, the Prime Minister Donald Tusk is very pro-Ukraine and pro-EU, and they can balance that power there. It's not going to be as black and white as, oh, okay, a Trumpist won, Poland is done. No, it's not going to be like that. Poland is a democracy, and they have the separation of powers, and they have a free press. So the fact that they have a conservative president with a liberal, centrist prime minister, they balance each other out quite good. My friends, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for coming back time and time again. If you want extra videos, analysis videos for members only, become a member of the channel. Links in the description below. And for $1 per month, you will get extra analysis videos of topics connected to the war, but not so closely that I can include them to the Ukrainian updates. These are separate videos for members only. Until my next video, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.